Welcome to Tiger Wolf. I'm Josh, and this is David.
Please be aware, this podcast contains strong language and spoilers.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
I hear you've been playing a game.
Yep.
Valkyria Chronicles?
4.
Ah. What's that about?
It's about a group of rangers during the Second World War in that universe.
Awesome. All right. See you guys next episode.
Shortest
tell me about
episode ever.
That wasn't a podcast. That was a pod splash.
Or should I say sploosh? But no, it's a really, the series itself, the 2 that I've played, well, 2 of the 3 I've played, I really enjoyed. I played the Revelation one.
I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah, I did not like that game. That one. I did not like that one specifically. But like the art style, everything looks like it's hand drawn. It uses I don't know the correct word for it. It's the Adam West or the comic book pow bang.
I'm sure there's a term for that.
There's a term for that. I don't know it.
I'm going to call it the action splashing.
Action text.
Well, it's graphic, right? So it's more than just a text.
Yeah. But like I find the art style really interesting. Like it's neither of the games have I really had like a graphical moment. Like staring at like how the does that work?
You know you don't have to censor yourself.
I didn't even notice I was. But the gameplay itself is basically like a tactical RPG. You've got so far your characters can move. They've got so far that they can shoot their weapons, so on and so forth.
Okay.
It kind of goes. It uses some the class system similar to like XCOM. How you've got whatever class is here. I can't think of all the classes from XCOM right off.
Like a scout or...
Yeah, you've got like scout, shock trooper, sniper, lancer, and this game also added mortars. And then you've got...
shock trooper like an infantry type of deal?
Yeah, they're the heavy gunner infantry. They've got like if there was a modern day version of this game, they'd be the one carrying the SAW or the 240 Bravo. Whereas the Scout
so heavy infantry.
Yeah, they're the heavy infantry. Scouts, the basic infantry.
I see.
Then you've got, like I said, sniper. Lancers are the anti-vehicle weapon. That's basically...
RPG?
Yeah, it's an RPG. That shaped like the
penetration
ones in the first
or
game
explosion?
Both? In the first game, they're shaped to look like a lance.
I mean,
Like
isn't there literally an RPG called a javelin?
yes.
Isn't it look kind of like a javelin?
No.
What are the ones that have
really
like the
cool
with the?
So the javelin, it's got a.
I thought there was
a
one that had like the
screen?
rocket on the end of it, and it was like a one-use thing.
That's an RPG, rocket propelled grenade.
Those look kind of like
Those
modernizations
look kinda like
of
a lance.
yeah.
The javelin though has a screen where you're actually able to watch.
Oh
where
yeah. Because
the missiles going.
that's right. That's the one where you can like direct it to.
Yeah, it's slightly guided.
That's cool.
But they have like they've got the scouts use a basic rifle, and then once you progress a little bit further, you can get either an enhanced basic rifle that does more damage, one that's better accuracy, or one that does.
So can you specialize like you can in XCOM? Is that what you're?
Sort of. Your classes are your specialization. This character is always the scout. But let's say you were a scout. Let's say both of us were scouts. They want you to use to be more accurate than me.
So I'll have like a sharpshooter gun,
You would have
a rifle,
the rifle that's slightly better in accuracy.
and probably a lower fire rate.
Yeah, whereas I use the one that has, let's say, the larger magazine or the one that does more damage. Those are the variations, which are pretty much the same with like sniper. And
have you ever considered what life would be like if things work like RPGs, where like damage is done in numbers, so to speak?
I think it would be really weird.
Because then it would be like, I got shot in the arm. It did 50 damage, dude. Like, I'd talking to people like,
do I have? I can't see it. Is it a 0?
I think you would just naturally know that. You know what I mean?
I just think I would do that.
Like, it'd just be like
I would do that
in your imagination, so to speak, the subconscious or whatever. You just have like
a number.
Well, all I can picture is like a little Pip Boy thing with like each arm or whatever has its own HP bar and whatnot. And then you have your overall one underneath it.
But like the Lancers, they have one that's more accurate.
Yeah.
One that does more vehicle or tank damage, and one that's designed for personnel.
Anti-personnel. Is it anti-personnel in vehicles?
No.
Or is it?
It's like you're using this rocket launcher to shoot that sniper in the face.
Okay, that seems weird. It covers like an area.
Yeah,
though, right?
it's got an area of effect.
So the anti-vehicle one would basically be the anti-tank
or.
Well, I mean, aren't anti-personnel like IEDs in real life geared towards taking out vehicles and killing the people that are in it?
The vehicle and killing the individuals in it. The anti-tank weapons in this game are designed to destroy the vehicle. And if you kill the people inside, you kill the people inside. Your goal is to destroy the vehicle.
I mean, so that leads me to the question of, if you destroy the tank and it quote unquote doesn't kill the people in it, are there units that come out?
I've never had that issue.
Or is the tank itself the actual unit?
The tank itself is the unit.
Okay.
But
I was just wondering how to handle that.
Does kind of get brought up in the cutscenes later in the game, actually. Because you take out Waltz. He's pretty much the Imperial tank commander that you have repeated battles with.
Waltz?
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Waltz.
Do you kill him? Or is he endless?
I thought he dies. I thought he died when I destroyed his
tank.
He
is endless.
He is endless. So it comes to the point where it's down. You have to kill him to take out the Valkyria that's on their side, Lady Chromaria. Up to this point, he's been infatuated with her, and she has been knocking his advances to the ground, left and right, and actually had him at one point literally chased off by her pet wolf, Fenrir.
Okay, so in the cutscene, does he like leave the tank that you destroyed he was in?
You see the tank burning, like it's fucked, and she loses it. She starts to go nuclear, which is something the Valkyria possess. They possess an ability to just expunge all of their power at once, literally setting themselves off like a nuclear bomb.
Interesting.
So she starts to go nuclear, and everybody, your team is like, all right, we need to get out of here. So they're all running, and she's pissed. She wants to die so she can be with him. And then he comes staggering up.
She'd been knocking him back.
Yeah, she had been. She was in love with him because he was the only one that treated her like a person, not a weapon.
Even though Valkyrie are kind of walking weapons.
They're walking weapons, but he treated her like a person.
So the Valkyrie are on the bad guys team, or is it like both sides?
So during the first game, you find out that one of your team members is a descendant from the Valkyrie, so she's able to become one. But the enemies have always had one. There's Sylvania in the first game, and in the fourth one, there's Lady Chromaria. You also have a Valkyrie on your team in the fourth game. She's a little girl named Angie that is actually the power source for the ship you're on during the second half of the game.
I'm sure that's humane.
The other 2 ships also had them. Both the other 2 ships get destroyed.
Well, that doesn't mean that they were little kids.
They were all 3 little girls.
Oh, okay. I was trying to be positive.
Yeah, this game got dark real fucking quick.
I mean,
like it's a war game.
War is dark. Like
it is a war game.
You've played this war of mine.
Yeah, but that's civilians in a war in a scenario, in a very damaging scenario.
I'm sorry, a little girl's not civilians.
They actually are part of the military. They sign waivers, and I'm not saying it's ethical, but they are part of the military. They are not civilian contractors. I'm not saying it's ethical. I'm not. I'm just saying that
you're saying that it happened and things like that happen in war.
Yes. War does terrible
things.
things.
What is it good for?
I'm not falling for that.
Nah, dang
it. But so the first half, you can break the game up between basically 2 different operations. There's the first half, which is Operation Northern Cross, and then the second half, which is Operation Cygnus. During Operation Northern Cross, you're part of the Federation trying to do a blitzkrieg to the Imperial capital and take it out, so it'll end the war. Preferably before the snow sets in, because the Empire situated on the map would be where Russia is.
I mean, that's a big area.
Yeah, that area is the Empire. I actually think the Valingrad is actually, I believe, is the name of the capital. On the map, looks like it's roughly where Moscow is. So, take that how you want. But at first, you think, all right, we're doing good. I mean, we breached the wall. We're deep into enemy territory. We've taken over
That's
villages.
Always a good idea.
We've taken over villages.
Taken over or liberated?
They were part of the Empire originally. So in theory, we have taken them over.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the inhabitants wanted to be part of the Empire.
It
would be
true.
Liberating if they did not.
It's never specified as far as liberation or taking over.
So you don't interact with people in towns?
With them, and some of them treat you like an invading force, but one gentleman doesn't. Later on, you find that gentleman hung from a tree.
Oh, that's...
Well, a phone pole.
That's just sad. That's just that.
Yeah, and there's a sign. There's a sign around his neck stating that, this is what you get.
He's a traitor.
Yeah, this is what you get for betraying your country.
Cool. This sounds like a great game.
So winter sets in 2 months early. The Empire circles around, cuts off the supply route to the frontal portion of Northern Cross, which is where your main cast is. You all get the entire camp gets ambushed from all sides.
So they've been watching you.
Yeah, your group has to basically make an escape route for everyone else. So you make the escape route, everyone goes to flee, and at first you're expecting to go back south. The direction you came. That would make sense. You're going to take probably a longer way around, avoid towns, but go back to the Federation area. No, you get told to go west to the coast.
West Coast?
Where you will meet up with reinforcements. Okay, how are they going to get here? This entire portion of the water is frozen at this point.
Oh, you just walk then.
So
isn't that how that works?
As you're going west, your group gets attacked. You fight them off, and then you separate. Everyone separates into smaller groups so they're harder to find. Squad E, the squad you play as, ends up finding a supply base for the Empire's assault to Gallia. Well, most of the main cast are from Gallia, so they take out the supply base. You finally get to the rendezvous point at the coast, and it's been a bloodbath. Pretty much everyone is dead. And the Empire circles back around. They're coming in, and guess who's there? It's Waltz. Because he was like, why are they not going south? They're going west. But sir, Command tells us to go south. Yeah, fuck Command. We're going west. My rival, my soulmate, has gone west. That's what he refers to you as.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, he's creepy.
I thought you said he was hitting on
that's
another chick.
And at this point, after his blunder of not stopping you when he went west, he gets basically court-martialed almost, and someone pulls strings and gets him attached to their unit and pulls all of his men over, and that's where he meets Lady Chromaria and
meets his other soulmate.
Yeah, he meets his actual soulmate. And I'll be honest, the more I saw Waltz in the game, the more I'm like, okay, I kind of like this guy. He's a great commander. He's got a very specific set of morals. He may be on the opposing side, but he has a very strict, specific set of morals. No one is just expendable. From the smallest grunt to himself, no one is just expendable.
That's cool, actually. Like, that's good.
Yeah, I really started to like him. And then as the story progresses, you end up going into Operation Cygnus, where you find out that your sniper, Kai, she's basically been feeding information to the enemy.
Traitor.
The enemy she's been feeding information to is her brother, who used to be part of the squad and then vanished.
Traitor. I'm gonna have to get my stun stick out.
So,
oh, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I was trying to make a Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I know. So, Raz, your primary shock trooper, finds out that she's been feeding information to the enemy. He also happens to be madly in love with her.
Oh, dear.
And is like, look, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it anymore. Just stop. And if they find out, I'll take the fall. She punches him in the face.
You're willing to do that for me? Yes. Ow.
And he's like, and like he finally, like he doesn't even realize he admits that he's in love with her during that conversation. And until after she's like, and as far as the other thing goes, I need some time to think about that. He's like, I said it. Yeah. Like, stupid proud of himself. I see it. That he actually admitted that he was in love with her. So, go forward a little bit more in the story. Come to the point where you have to fight Waltz, which I was talking about earlier.
Yes.
His tank gets completely fucked. Chimera starts to go nuclear, and Waltz literally walks up and just hugs her. And she's like, what are you doing, you fool? I can't control my power. Run.
I thought she was going nuclear because she thought he was dead.
Yeah, but she's lost control of her power. She can't stop it now that he's not dead. So she's telling him to run so that he doesn't die. And he's like, I don't care. I'm not going anywhere.
He's not going to run far enough.
He's like, I'm not going anywhere. Go ahead. Burn us both with the blue flame. I don't care. I'm here. I'm with you. And that's that. And then he collapses because he's wounded. And she starts yelling at her staff because that's where her power mainly comes from. It's one of the ancient weapons that allows her to focus her abilities. She's yelling at it to stop. And she tries to pull the Ragnite crystal out of it, which is what's allowing the power to flow. And she burns her hand. She tries to do it again. She ends up throwing the staff because she's pulling on it that hard. And it ends up sticking into the ground and she's screaming at it, crying. And Waltz is laying there. He opens his eyes suddenly, jumps up, grabs the crystal, and crushes it in one fell swoop. And then just kind of slumps down. But, she's like, you really are, like it shows later, his head's resting on her lap. She goes, you really are a fool. He's like, if I'm here with you, I guess I'm not dead. Unless we're both in heaven. Because you are an angel. Oh, God. I'm like, well,
cheesy bastard.
If
there's a time,
that is him in a nutshell.
If there's a time to lay it on thick, it's after you save both of your asses and are almost dead.
That's him. That's him in a nutshell, dealing with this woman. But so their commanding officer actually ends up being the real Kai, the sniper's brother.
The Urukai?
The real Kai.
Oh. I was like, what the fuck?
He was their commanding officer.
Orcs got to do with this.
And he sets up a trap for, the Centurion, which is the ship you're on. Because the goal is to literally just go straight, take the ship across the ice, because it's an ice cruncher, and just right into the city. Right into the heart of the Empire, and set off what's called an A2 bomb. Guess what the A2 bomb is?
A Valkyrie.
Yeah. The little girl that's powering your ship. So he sets up a trap for when you're getting close. And the only way to get out of it is literally you have to send two people on a suicide mission. It is a complete suicide mission. They are going to die. You do not have time to get them back, to pick them up. And Claude, the main character, the leader of the group, he can't make this decision. He can't. It's the best course of action, but he cannot send anyone to their death.
Just go die, yeah.
And Raz is sitting there. He looks at him. He goes, look, you either order me to do it or I'm doing it by myself. It's going to happen. It's going to get done. Besides, I'm Raz the Invincible.
I'm a Clausian.
Basically. So he finally agrees to let Raz do it. And Raz is telling he's like, all right, we're going. And Kai goes, the sniper's like, all right, when are we leaving? He's like, you're not going. And she goes, what? And Raz is like, you're not going. She has no idea it's a suicide mission. He's just like, look, it's going to be a whiteout out there. You're not going to be any use to me. I need somebody who can, see. You're a sniper. You're meant for hitting the guy on the other side of the rocks 2 miles away, not the guy 10 feet in front of us in a blizzard. Which, yeah, okay, fine. That's a fair argument. She did not know that it was a suicide mission, that he was not going to get picked back up. So she drops it. She drops the argument and she gives him a kiss on the cheek. And he's like, all right, cool. And him walking out into the blizzard is probably the most badass scene in that entire game. Because he's got his fucking big ass fucking saw-like weapon, heavy machine gun, just over one shoulder. Just walking. You end up having to pick one of your other characters to send with him. And it flat out tells you, this is a suicide mission. They are going to die. Whoever you send. So I sent the character who goes by the name Odin.
Okay.
Who's a scout. So I had those two going to do their thing. And they get to the point and there are bad guys coming up. Odin's like, all right, look, you go on ahead, take out the generator. I'll stop these guys here. And Raz goes, all right. And he takes off and Odin's like, I don't want to die. Don't want to die.
No, you ain't got a choice now.
Yeah. And then it goes to Raz. He comes around the corner and there are 3 guys guarding the generator. He comes around the corner, starts opening fire, catches one in the right shoulder, and then catches a round in his side, but kills all 3 of them. He goes over, he hits the button, he pulls it, he turns off the generator, and he slumps against the generator, and he's like, "It's done, Claude. Go fuck him up for me." And that's when Kai finds out that they're not
suicide.
Yeah, that it was a suicide mission, that they're not going to get Raz. And then over the radio, he's like, "Look, calm down. All right? I wanted this. I'm going to be a big fucking hero." And then you hear enemies on the other side through the mic scream, "There he is!" and just unloading of rifle rounds. Which really pissed me off because I was really the only 2 characters I wanted to survive on the good guy side were Raz and Lena. I'm like, those 2 I want to see have a happy ending.
It's war, David.
Those were the 2 I wanted to see have a happy ending.
There's not actually any happy endings.
So you get into the capital, ensuing fight happens, and you're literally, Claude is about to pull the lever to set off the A2 bomb. And then there's a radio transmission. There's been a truce. There's been a ceasefire signed. I repeat, there has been a truce. There has been a ceasefire signed.
Right afterwards?
Right before he's about to pull the lever.
Well, I mean, right after the whole...
Yeah, right after the whole Raz, and yeah. And Claude, he just starts screaming in anger. And he's like, he's like, "Okay, well, we're right here. We're here. We made it. Why now?" And then one of the other characters almost kills him to detonate the bomb because she wants revenge for what happened at the coast when most of her squad was murdered. He finally convinces her not to. They get out and they're walking, they leave the ship and they're walking up to meet everybody else. And a busted up tank rolls up. And he's like, Claude's looking at it. He's like, "That's..." And Waltz and Chronicles get out and they come walking up. And he's like, "Lieutenant Commander Waltz of the Empire." He extends his hand and he goes, "Squad Wallace, Squatty." He goes, "You're Claude?" "Oh, it's finally great to meet you."
That's funny.
And they have an interesting exchange. And Kai refers to Raz as an idiot because they're talking about him, and Chromaria refers to Waltz as an idiot. And then the ship suddenly gets harpooned and starts being dragged out to sea by a giant submarine because one of the enemies isn't ready to give up yet. So you have to go and fight the sub. The sub. You take out the harpoon cannons so that it stops dragging the ship, and then you have to go onto the ship to save Angie, the little girl. Well, Riley goes in first. She ends up getting wounded, and the engine room's on fire. And she's got Angie, and her and Claude are talking as Claude's racing up there to get to the ship. And, she's talking. He's like, what didn't you want to reopen your dad's old energy company? And she's like, "Yeah." And she talks about it a little. She goes, "Listen to me sitting here talking business while I'm burning to death." And she's got a gunshot wound in her abdomen also. So she's bleeding out and there's fire everywhere. Claude gets to her and Angie, and Riley dies as they're getting out, which is who Claude was in love with. Him, the tank driver, the Hoffen, which is the name of their tank, Angie and Riley's body are trapped on the deck of the ship. There's fire everywhere. There's no way for them to get off the ship. So I was like, well, this is it. We did what we could. And then part of the ship breaks off and drops down, giving them a ramp to escape. And he's like, Riley's still with us. Get us out of here. So they get off the ship, and then it goes to the cutscene. It goes to the credits, and it shows snippets of where everybody, what happened with everyone.
Oh, like Legend of the Dragoon.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Lena adopted Angie, and she is at her brother and Raz's graves. Claude goes back to their hometown of Hoffen and reopens the energy company for Riley. Waltz and Chromaria get married. I legitimately enjoyed the fourth one more than the first. The story was a lot darker.
That's interesting because didn't you really enjoy the first one a lot?
I really enjoyed the first game.
Because I know you were anticipating this.
Yeah,
a lot before it came out.
But yeah, this one, I personally, this one's better than the first one to me. Well, I suppose that's the end of the episode.
Please like, comment, follow, and share. And also, more importantly, thank you for listening.
Take care. Bye.